Hi, hello and welcome back to MERAKI'S method. This is gold making for casuals and today we are here on the Forbidden Reach. Not that we're going to be doing anything on the Forbidden Reach, just so happens to be where I am at the moment. We're actually today going to be looking at TradeSkillMaster mailing operations. So this should be a bit quicker than the last couple have been because this is a bit of a lighter section, thank goodness. There's not just as much to this one. But we're going to take a look at it because it can be very, very functional, even though it's not quite as deep as the other parts of TradeSkillMaster. If you have missed those other parts of this series, they will be linked down below, or you can find them on the channel or in the little cards thing just above. Okay, so you can go back and you can rewatch. So far we've discussed the website, the add-on settings, the how to make groups and how to do your operations. So we've got fairly far through TSM. There's only a few more things we have to look at, and one of those things is mailing. So we're going to open up our TradeSkillMaster here at the top, and we're going to go into operations, and we're going to go into mailing operations. These are very, very straightforward operations. So as you can see here, you've got a very simple little screen. It tells you which of these operations you have attached to most groups. Artemilius is my main bank kind of crafting bank character, so most of my operations go to him. The least groups, the new operation 3 and 4, I don't actually have attached to anything, so they're obviously not attached to any groups, so they're the ones going to least. And the most items is the one that's going to Thielen here, because he's the one that sells my junk, so he gets a lot of items. And the least items is again that one that's not being used. So then it shows you your operations, it shows you the number of groups using that operation and the number of items in those groups using those operations. So you can actually just straight delete these two. As you can see, I have two set up. My one that sells my crafting things and my one that sells my junk bits and pieces like food and things you pick up in your travels and all that kind of thing. And there's also the default one, of course. But what we're going to do today is we're going to create a new one. So before we even get into creating a new one, we're going to talk about why you would want a mailing operation in the first place. So what a mailing operation allows you to do is it allows you to automate the mailing system. So for example, let's say you have a character that is a blacksmith, and you do all of your blacksmithing on this character. And because you have a bunch of alts, you like to send all of your ore. Anytime you get any ore in any of your characters, you like to send that to your blacksmith because he's the one that's going to be using it, yeah? So you could set up a mailing operation that will automatically send all of the ore that you collect to your blacksmith. And if you have a double crafter, say you have mining and herbalism, you can set up another operation. So he's going to send all of your herbs to your alchemist or whoever you have that's using your herbs. Similarly, if you do a lot of content and you farm a lot of greens and things and you have a transmog group set up, but you sell all of your transmog through one bank alt character, you can have it attach a mailing operation to your transmog group that will tell it to send all of the items in that transmog group to that character that's going to be selling them. So it's very, very useful. If you have quite a few characters or you have alts and you're using a few characters in the game, it can be very, very useful to get all of your items sent out to the characters that are going to be using them or putting them on the auction house. And you can automate that entire process so it can do it with a single click. So I'm going to show you how to do it now, for example. So let's say I want to attach my herbs to my alchemist. My alchemist is called Sariel. So I'm going to type in the target character here. The target character is my alchemist. You can also use this little contacts list and it'll allow you to use your recents, your alts, your own alts if you want to like import a name, your friends or your guild. So you can, if you wanted to send everything, for example, say you had an agreement with someone in your guild that you were going to send them all of your ore, you might go into guild, pick the person that you're sending all your ore to and attach that to your ore group, and then it will automatically send all your ore to that person. So be careful with who you put in these target boxes because it will send everything in that group to that person when you click the button. Okay, so be careful who you're sending it to. If you want to keep, so say you're sending all of your potions, you've crafted a bunch of potions, you're sending them all to your bank character to sell them, but you want to keep 20 for yourself. So you put in here, keep 20. If it's transmog and you want to keep one of the items for yourself, you put in here keep one. Yeah, that's where your keep items section there, but generally you probably have that as a node. And set a max quantity. If you want to only send a maximum number of things, like say you have you only want to send 20 to your bank alt at one time, so they can sell those 20 and then you'll send more. For example, if you had a warehouse character that just has thousands of them and he's only dishing them out little bits at a time, you might want to set a max quantity. I generally don't use it, but if you did want to do that, that's where you would do it. You click yes and then you put in your max quantity, etc. And then you can restock to that quantity if you want as well. But basically the only part that's actually really important here is your target character. You need to make sure you have your target character's name in there properly. Yeah? Then you have your management options, same as any other operation. You can ignore certain factions or realms, you can ignore certain characters, or you can attach it to a group here. Now I do want to attach this to a group. You can do this if you want. You can go into your groups and attach it there. I'll show you that in a second. But we'll do it from here and then we'll check it. So group management, I want to attach this to my herbs group. So I'm going to go in there. It's not in my professions, it's not in legendaries, it's in materials. So I'm going to, there's lots of mini groups here, but I want to make sure it sends all of these herbs to him. So I'm going to put it on the bigger group. So I'm going to attach it to this group. That includes all of those subgroups as well. If you only wanted to send, for example, say you had a particular dual crafter who had the panther mounts and you wanted to send your certain amount of things only to them, you could just click that one and then deselect the rest. If you want, it's entirely down to you and where you want your stuff to go. For me, I'm going to send all of my herbs to my alchemist and I'm going to click select group. So yeah, that's what that's doing there. Now to check that, or another way you can do that, is give it a name as well. We're going to go up here, we're going to rename it. We're going to call it, can we rename it? Here we go. I'm going to give it the same name as the person it's going to for keep it easy. So we're going to rename it up there. Then we're going to go into groups. I'm going to go down here to materials. We're going to open materials and I'm going to look at herbs. So once you have your group selected, if you come over here to operations like we talked about last time, in operations you'll see we have already set up an auctioning operation here. We'll talk about crafting operations another time. And here's where our mailing operation is. So we've got that one in that we added. If it wasn't here, you can add it. You can add more operations too if you wanted to. If you wanted to mail them to multiple people, for example, say you had set max quantity 200. So it was going to send 200 Life Bloom to Sariel. You could then add another operation with another character's name. Say you have more than one alchemist. Jim Bob, you could add an operation to send 200 to Jim Bob as well. So it will send 200 to Sariel first, and then it will send however many's left up to a value of 200 to Jim Bob as well. And you can keep doing that for as many as you have. So you can have more than one mailing operation per group, depending on how many you're sending to different people. Just know that the one that's on the top is going to take priority. So it's going to fill that one first, and then it's going to start looking at if it can send any of the rest. Okay, so that's where you attach it in there, and that is basically all there is to mailing operations. You can make a mailing operation for every single one of your characters, and then you can attach it to your groups. So you have different things going to different people. You could have your meat and fish, for example, going to your character that has leveled up their cooking. You can have your gems going to your dual crafter. You have your transmog going to your transmog seller. You can have all these vendor things. I have these vendor things, and all the junk armors going to the person that I have, the character that I have that sells those. And then how do you use it? So once you have all that framework in place, how do you use it? It's very simple. You go to your mailbox. Now this is the TSM mailbox. Yours might look like this. If yours looks like this, all you need to do is you need to click that wee TSM4 at the top, and it should look like this. I'm going to open it again just because it doesn't like sometimes being turned off and on. Now there's your normal inbox and there's your normal send box. What you need to go for is groups. So once you're in groups, again, you can expand and collapse these all as usual. You can select them all, deselect them all. If you have them all selected, it will send everything it can find in your bags in any of those groups to whoever you've sent it to. So you maybe want to be careful with that one. But for example, say you have a character who's farming, right? So you want all the materials. You have all of your material groups are attached to mailing operations with whoever's going to be using those materials. So you want that group selected, right? And it will hold this selection. This selection will stick. So next time you open your mailbox, you won't have to select your groups. Once you have them selected, they stay selected. So that's fine. You just leave them selected and it's all good. You can select as many or as few as you want. And then all you have to do then when you open your mailbox is go to groups and you click mail selected groups. And if you click that button, it will just start sending all of those things. Now I'm on Sariel and I don't have, I don't want to mail all these herbs to myself. So, but that's basically how it works. You just click mail selected groups and it finds everything in your bags, pulls it into a mail and sends it to the recipient. And that's all there is to it. Mailing operations are that simple. You just open groups, hit mail selected groups, and it will send it all itself. No matter how many items they are, no matter how messy your bags are, it will sort it all out for you and it will send everything that you need to get to the right person for you. It is an incredibly useful little operation to have. It's super easy to set up. All that's really involved in it to get it working is putting in the character name and attaching it to the right group. Very simple, very straightforward. I hope this helps you tons and saves you lots and lots of time and tedium in your future gold making endeavors. But until next time, friends, have an awesome week and I'll see you then. Bye.